Good morning, Gemma. How are you doing this morning? Kevin Brand, Mike Stevens, Al Akbar, to you as well, Mike. Kevin Brand, all the way from South Carolina, Kittiku. Carol Miller, good morning. Good morning to everyone. I hope we all had a great week. Just waiting for people to roll on in. They're coming in now. Will, have you taken membership off? No? Off of your channel? Or turned it off on mine? No? I did get a notice the other day that my membership to Duty Runs was suspended, and then 20 minutes later, I got a notice that said that I was, now an active member. I have no idea what's going on with the system, if that's what's going on at all. My membership badge on yours is not showing. That's probably what happened, Gemma. I have no control over that. I haven't done anything to turn it off. It has to do with the YouTube system. And I'm truly sorry. Kevin Brand, it's 97 here today. Heat index is 105. Today, here, Kevin, where I am, high today is 102, is the actual heat. I don't know what the heat index is going to be, but I'm guessing it's going to be miserably hot, even in the shade. But then again, I live in the semi-desert, so we're kind of used to it. This is not even the hottest part of the year. The hottest part of the year for us is August, but it just starts ramping up. We'll hit triple digits just about every day. Lows at night down into the 50s. But I know it's got to be miserable for where you are. I hope you can stay inside where it's cool. Pippadot, good morning. Welcome to this morning's Coffee Brew, Pippadot, and everyone else. Welcome to Coffee Brew. Everything that I'm going to cover today is what I wanted to cover last week, but obviously me and my wife we were playing with our son, and then I got delayed, and then I never got to actually cover any of the stories that I wanted to last week. Good morning, Lemon Pie. Good morning, Sprinkled Donut as well. Good morning to you. I hope you both had a wonderful week. But Gemma, I will check into the membership thing after this stream to see what's going on, if it turned it off, or why the badges are, if there's any notice of why badges are not showing up. But trust me, sweetheart, it's all YouTube. Don't know why they do it sometimes. You just kind of have to play along with their systems. Like the notice that I posted the other day on the community tab, that people are not getting notified of live streams at all. The actual little icon next to the name of the channel that shows that they're live wasn't showing up to anybody. And if you did click on and you found they're live, it was just like a frozen screen. Not the creator side, it was on YouTube side. They know about it. there's always, little things like that we have to deal with. YouTube is being weird on my end. It's saying I've been a member of your channel for over a year. You're still active on your end. See, that's all that matters, sweetheart. We know what we're doing. It's the YouTube system. Doesn't necessarily know what anybody's doing. It's their sandbox and they play by their own rules. All right, let's get this morning's thing going. And Pippadot, you're not getting notified. Mike got notified. You got lucky there, Mike. But it's not just the notifications. It's when even if you do get the notification and you click on it, what it was doing is it was just showing a frozen screen, no live at all. It was like a still photo, and it was random. It wasn't necessarily from the beginning of the stream. It could have been 20 minutes into the stream, and it just like took a photograph. It froze. The whole system froze for live streams and for premieres, and there was something else that was affected as well. But anyways. All right, coffee brew, ladies and gentlemen. The first one I want to cover this morning is A, B, C, D. I'm drunk. Wendy Munson, a second grade school teacher who was arrested on October 2nd of 2023 for being under the influence while instructing a classroom of second graders. She was additionally charged with DUI and endangerment to a child. On June 10th, this month, June, on the 10th of 2024, the DA dropped all charges. Why? He says that there's not enough evidence to prove that it's provable. At the actual stop and interaction with law enforcement, she was determined to be twice the legal limit at that point by the breathalyzer. And the reason why she was charged with DUI was because she drove to school drunk. And then she got in her car and she was trying to leave with a child. I believe it's her niece. But regardless, they dropped all the charges. This is not the first time that a teacher has shown up to school drunk, as you can probably guess. But this is the first time that there's been a case in the state of California like this in 5 years. Yes, 5 years ago, there was a math teacher who showed up at a local high school so drunk he couldn't even walk down the hallway to his classroom and had to get help from another teacher just to find his classroom. But Wendy Munson, they dropped all the charges against her for being drunk in a second grade classroom. That's the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. You can't find sober teachers in public schools, and you can't find them in private schools. So don't think for a second, well, I'll put my kid in a private school. That way there will be none of this ever happening. Since 2020, 17 teachers across the United States in charter schools and private schools have been arrested for either being under the influence of alcohol or narcotics and unable to teach children. Since 2020, 17 of them have. So it's not just the public school, it's an epidemic apparently going through everywhere, and we allow these people around our impressionable children. That's a messed up world we live in. I don't think Trump had anything to do with it, Mike, but that's funny though. You made me laugh. All right, next one. Oh, Ed, all right, if you're on your cell phone or on your tablet, this is something that I'm going to be offering for every single Saturday morning and every single crime thing from here on out. You can actually click on that link right there. And if you want to read the LA Times article, and I tried to find articles where it's the most updated information. Additionally, you don't have to go through a paywall to actually read the article. But that is the article from the LA Times. Next one is YouTuber, Comic Storian. That was the name of his YouTube channel. We now know the official cause of death for why he actually died. And it was determined that it was blunt force trauma. And he was not under the influence. That is as far as the actual they're releasing right now. How did he get the blunt force trauma? How did the accident happen? That all is what they're not talking about. But we do know officially what his cause of death was. Now, he comic historian, he actually what we call it co-created or worked with other YouTube channels. I had the opportunity to actually meet him. It was about 7 years ago now, 6 years ago now. I got to meet him in person at a Comic-Con. And he was really into comic books and Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon cards, and that kind of world and collectibles. He knew an awful lot, and a lot of people looked at him, as a someone of authority in that area and knowledge. But we now know, he died from blunt force trauma. Additionally, this is the New York Post article. If you wish to click on it on your cell phone or tablet, obviously you may not be able to do it on your computer if you're on a PC, but you can probably watch this afterwards, and then it should be a clickable link afterwards. Next one. Oh, Pamela Smart. Does everybody remember Pamela Smart? This is the one where she convinced a student of hers to kill her husband. Kill my husband and we can be together forever. She now says, after all these years, she has accepted her responsibility for her part in the crime, with a catch, of course. She's still serving a life sentence for recruiting her lover, a teenage boy, to kill her husband. She is pending. The reason why she's not admitting a full appeal, full responsibility, is she has appeals left, even after all these years of being behind bars. And the next part you can't see because of me in my little window, is that she is actually appealing it on the grounds of evidentiary things and bias that the court may have had against her because of the relationship between her and the actual the kid who actually committed the murder. So she's appealing that part of it. And this is the link from People magazine. This is the only one I could find that where you weren't going to get like 1,000 pop-ups or a paywall, was on People magazine. I know it's not the fullest article. It's not the most in-depth about her appeals process, but it's the best one I could find, to actually give you a link for. All right, Gabby Petito wrote Brian Laundrie a letter pleading with him. This is prior, obviously, to her death and what happened at the end, pleading with him to stop emotionally and abusing her. Apparently, Brian, for several, extended periods of time, not continuously, but he would do it, then stop, and then do it, and then stop for periods of time, but an extended period of time. He kept on calling her names, telling her that she was ugly and other additional things. There, that's in the court records right now and in the case itself. But this is just one of the multiple ways that someone who is physically abusing, or is going to physically abuse, a spouse, is they try to tear them down. No one loves you. You're ugly. Emotionally abusing them to the point where they feel less and less about themselves. So when the physical abuse starts, or maybe the physical abuse started first, and then the emotional abuse comes right along with it, they tear them down to the point where they don't feel like they are worth anything to be able to leave. So it's just another piece of the puzzle that we are learning about the relationship between Gabby and Brian, where he was tearing her down more and more and more, and she kept on pleading with him, please stop doing this, please stop being this way, please, for everything. And yet, in the end, she's, sometime after that letter was written, she did get in that van and decide to take a cross-country van tour, of the U.S. with Brian. And we know exactly what he ended up doing in the end. But it's sad that we're actually getting more of an insight now into it. And if this would have come out and and the Petito family would have found out about it, you can bet your last dollar on this earth. They would have done everything to get her away from him. And so would her friends and her fans would have done anything to get her away from Brian. But nobody knew exactly what was happening behind the scenes. But we're getting a better picture of it now. And here is the CNN article again. No paywall. Shouldn't be any pop-ups if you have pop-up blocker turned off. If you want to read more about it, this is not the full in-depth thing that you have to read the actual court correspondence. Not transcripts, because the transcripts aren't done yet because it's an active case. All right, new feature that I did a couple weeks back, not last week, but the week before that. This is a new feature. I'm going to present to you 2 articles. All right, 2 stories. One of them is real. One of them is 100% fake. And your job is to figure out either A or B, which one is the real story. And that's what you're looking for. Which one is real? All right. Real or fake? Again, this is how it works. You can answer A or B or 1 or 2 in the comment section on which one of these is a real story. First one, dad calls 911 to report that his child has been abducted. The father called 911 telling the dispatcher he couldn't find his child. When the dispatcher asked for his address, he just kept on talking about he looked here, he looked there, he checked everywhere. After several more attempts to calm the man down, they finally used the GPS to figure out where the call was coming from and pinpointed him. And that dad was reporting again that his child was abducted. Not that he couldn't find his child. He kept on saying over and over again, my child has been abducted. Is this the real story? Is story number 1 real, or is it fake? All right. And here's the second story. Real or fake? A 16-year-old from New Hampshire is facing charges of murder for hire after he lost a head-to-head matchup in an online game of Pokemon. He offered another teenager $12 cash plus 8 special Pokemon that were offered at a one-time only special training gym event. Is this story real or is it fake? Again, is the dad story real or is the 16-year-old murder for hire story real? Your job is to figure out which one of them is real. One of them is 100% real and the other one is completely fake. Gemma is going with 1 is real and 2 is fake. Lemon Pie says 1 real and 2 is fake. Which one is real? Story number 1 or story number 2? Anybody else want to take a shot at it? 16-year-old from New Hampshire, murder for hire. Kitty Q's going to go, I'll go 2 real, 1 fake. Same as everybody else. All right. Here is the answer. The correct answer is story number 1 is real. The father had forgotten he left his child at home, went to the store, ran other errands. Unfortunately, the father was under the influence and didn't remember he forgot his little tyke at home. The child was reunited with the mother, and the father received a $500 fine for misuse of the 911 system. Ladies and gentlemen, they did not arrest him for DUI. He was drunk and in the parking lot of a shopping mall and could not find his child. And they did not arrest him for DUI. They let him walk away. The mother was obviously furious, and they are divorced. They are not living in the same house. And they let him walk away and come back and get his car later on. But they did give him a fine for $500 for misusing the 911 system. All right. That is all the ones that I wanted to cover last week. Say hello, Sal. Is Sal here? Sal is here. Sal went one real, two fake. So did Pippadot. I don't know. To tell you the truth, that Pippadot and everybody else about the Laundry family. I don't know what. Well, first off, the Petito family, who is suing the Laundries. I mean, obviously, they're going to win on the grounds of what they're suing underneath. But how much do they really hope that they're going to get out of the case? The insurance company has already offered two different settlements that and saying, look, we'll pay you this much just in the case. But it to me, it seems like the Petito family wants to get everything out, and they want through discovery. They're getting a lot more information now than they ever did before. Where the Laundry family was like, nah, we didn't know anything. Everybody knows. I mean, you should know that there is no reason at all that Roberta, that's Brian Laundrie's mom, Roberta, she knew about what was going on. To say that she didn't know, and now that we know with discovery and information has come out from the case, she knew an awful lot more about what was going on in that relationship and why Brian showed up at the home without her. And then, before he took off and went into, the wildlife preserve and ended up taking his life. I mean, before all that happened, there's information now we all know, if you just Google it, that how much Roberta know. Now, Dad didn't know as much as Mom, but Roberta, Brian's mom, she knew an awful lot more about the relationship and what happened to Gabby and where everything was at that point. And she knew additionally, what Brian was capable of and where his mental health state was before he took off for the wildlife preserve. He wasn't planning on coming out of that preserve. And even as a parent, and with a mental state is of your child, he's not happy and bubbly and watching TV. He was depressed, and she knew that. She knew he was going to take off, but there wasn't anything she wanted to do to stop it. But I don't know. I don't know what the Laundry family's defense is really going to be, other than, well, we weren't we're not our son. That's about the only defense they really have. Gemma has weird neighbors. Oh yeah, I've got a couple of those weird neighbors. Or maybe they're looking at me going, I'm the weird neighbor. They probably are saying the same thing about me. Hey, that guy goes into that one garage on his property in the back corner all the time. Does he live in there? Mary Frederick, good morning. Good morning. If anybody else I missed, good morning to you as well. They're outside dancing in underwear. Okay. That's weird. That's weird. Not as weird as I had a neighbor who used to do that, and he used to dig graves. He would dig a grave, and then once he got it done, then he'd fill it back in, and then he'd dig another one, and then fill it in, and dig another, fill it in. And he kept on repeating it. He used to be a grave digger in a cemetery, but he could not figure out how to work a backhoe, mechanically. He only knew how to do it by a shovel. And when they let him go, he was convinced that one day they were going to, learn that, oh, we can't use this backhoe anymore to dig graves. So he kept himself sharp by always practicing. Winter, fall, summer, he was always out there. And sometimes he did it in his tidy whitey underwear and just wearing like a tank top. He'd be out there digging away in the rain. That's weird. He used to also steal our newspaper too, and then he'd read it, and he couldn't figure out how to put it back in order, like A, B, C, D, down for the different sections. So D would be, where B should be, and B was what D should be. And we would never get our paper on the right day. We'd get it like the next day afterwards. But we have a ghost next door. People keep moving out because of the ghost. Really? That's interesting. You should take your cell phone and go record it, Sal. I'm not saying that ghosts aren't real. I'm not making fun of them. I've seen some things in my lifetime I can't explain. I truly cannot explain. And if somebody told me the story, of when I was remodeling our old home, if somebody told me this story, which actually happened to me in my mind, and everything was real, I would say that person was probably on some kind of hallucinogenic or some kind of drug. But I wasn't on any drugs at all, and I saw something that I cannot explain. Oh, they're outside dancing in the rain in their underwear, Gemma. Hmm. Yep, it's strange. Oh, that's definitely strange. That's not something normal people do, I guess. But it's probably not completely normal to them. My friend T Just 409 may join us this morning. Okay. Cement Shoes. Good morning. Good morning, Cement Shoes. You overslept? It happens. But I hope you had a wonderful week, Cement Shoes. And there's your friend, Mary. Good morning, T Just 409. I saw a huge ball of light in the sky and it poofed away at top speed. No clue what it was. Now, me and my friend saw something like that, Kitty Q. It's got to be about 15 years, or I don't know. No, wait, hold on a second. Let me think about this for a second. How long ago it was? That would be 10, 18 years ago. 18 years ago, it was summertime, and we have a local freeway. It's four lanes in each, 2 lanes in each direction, so 4 lanes total. So we're going along, and it's a fairly up and down like freeway. It's not like nice and flat like you would be in Arizona or Utah or something like that. It's not a really high like hills, but it's not flat. Okay, to give you kind of a and to one side of the freeway, where the traffic's coming the opposite direction, there is nothing for hundreds of miles at all. There's no homes. There's nothing. It's just desert, sagebrush, cactus, coyotes, and other small little creatures. That's it. There's nothing that way. I mean, you can see the most brilliant amount of stars that way, especially when you get a little bit farther out because the ambient light from the city, doesn't detract from it. So, anyways, that gives you kind of an idea of where this was. We're driving along. I was driving. My friend was in the passenger seat, and we're going along, and we came over the top of this like crest of the hill, and and then it levels out for about maybe 3-ish miles. And we come up over the top of this thing. We see this globe of bright light in the sky, probably about I would say less than 50 yards off the ground. And it's just sitting there and it's pulsing over and over again. And I'm like, and I turn to my friend, I go, what the hell do you think that is? You think it's like a helicopter or something? And he's like, yeah, I don't know what it is. He goes, if it's a helicopter, why would it be pulsing? And then all of a sudden, the light went shoo, over to the other side of the freeway. Now we're talking maybe 2.5 miles, if not more, going from where it was to over to the other side, and it stopped immediately. And we're talking like a 1/1000, 2/1000s, like click there. Now it's there, and we could actually see it, and it left like a trail, kind of like a shooting star would leave a trail behind it, and it came over here, and we're like, what the hell? So I pull over to the side of the road, and when I came to a stop, and we're like, that can't be a helicopter. And I mean, it wouldn't be completely out of the question, and taking in context of the area where I actually live. Now, you have to understand the largest amount of work in the area there where I work, where I live here, are government contractors. This is, I'd say, a good 70% of all employment in this area is dealing with the government, some government department, all right, or one or another. So we're watching this light, and all of a sudden, it just moved a little bit more to back to the right, and then phew, gone. And we're like, what the hell was that? Tejas for Texas in Tejas 409. Oh, learn something new every day. Well, I'm sorry for mispronouncing it. Tejas 409, is 409 like a area code for Texas? No, either way, everything's bigger and better in Texas. My friend Lisa lives in Texas. She lives outside of Well, she lived outside of Albuquerque, and then she moved to. It's like a little bedroom community outside of San Antonio, down that way. Crazy stuff happens out there. It does. Galveston, Texas area code. All right. Well, now I know the area code for Galveston, Texas. I live in area code 509. 509 is the eastern part of Washington State, is area code 509. It's always nice to meet somebody new. I hope if you like the content, stick around and subscribe, and put out a lot of good stuff. At least I hope I do. People seem to enjoy it. And tomorrow night, if you like true crime, Sunday night, every Sunday night, we play true crime trivia. 20 multiple choice questions, all displayed on screen. You answer A, B, C, or D, or E, and make up your own answer. And trust me, a lot of people do. It's just for fun and entertainment. I absolutely have a blast, putting it together each week. This will be the 312th episode of crime trivia tomorrow night. Well, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Will, you pronounced his name Tejas, like Tejas, which means Texas. Tejas. Trivia tomorrow night. Yep. All of the trivia questions tomorrow night are on creepy killers. Creepy killers. This is a collection of questions that are left over from other more recent trivia nights, that didn't make it into those ones, so I put them all into one. It's not normally it's on one person, one either a serial killer or a killer, but tomorrow is I think there's like 6 or 8 different killers total. That's why I didn't anybody who's on the email list for me to email early. I didn't email anybody this week to tell them what the trivia night was, because I can't say, well, look, it's on the creepy killers out there, and how are you going to study for that? I mean, and what do you consider creepy? These are some seriously creepy individuals. I'll give you an example, like Pee Wee Gaskin is on there. Pee Wee Gaskin, if you don't know who Pee Wee Gaskin, the serial killer, is, he was one creepy ass. I mean, not scary per se, as in like serial killers. I mean, they're all scary, but he was scary and super creepy on top of it all. The man drove around in a hearse. That was his only transportation, was a black hearse, and he had a bumper sticker that says that he would was an undertaker. He buried people, in some undertaker, thing or whatever. I can't remember what his bumper sticker said, but he was a serial killer all at the same time. Sticking out a little bit there. I mean, at least Ted Bundy had a Volkswagen Bug. He kind of blended into society. Not Pee Wee Gaskin. No. He stuck out like a sore thumb. And when they finally found out that he was killing people, that everybody was like, yeah, we can see that. The Oss is awesome at true crime. Well, cool. You should really enjoy it then. And speaking of Pee Wee Gaskin, and this is not a joke, and there is actually a religion, a cult of people, if you will, who worship Pee Wee Gaskin, and they believe that he is a seer. That I put that in air quotes because that's what they believe. They call him a seer from the other side of the not the veil, but the other side of the mystical universe. That's who they believe Pee Wee Gaskin was. I should say was, but they actually worship Pee Wee Gaskin. There's an actual religion, cult, around his crimes and who he was. I mean, not making fun of people's religion. You can practice whatever religion you want, but Pee Wee Gaskin? There's a lot of guys in the U.S. called different from us Brits. Ed Gein was the reason why Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies came from. He was definitely one of the inspirations for that. You are correct, for the Texas Chainsaw, for Leatherface himself, and Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Silence of the Lamb, is also that character was an inspiration from Ed Gein and his skin suit. Let's not forget, Ed Gein, when they finally got into the house, I mean, it was completely after his brother died tragically in the barn fire. he lived in only one part of the home, Ed Gein did, and they found female genitalia that he had surgically removed from women in the cemetery. And he also, it was so disgusting that the kitchen was covered in maggots and everything else. But his mother's room in the house was pristine. He only went in that one room, his mother's bedroom, to dust and to put new flowers in a vase on her nightstand. Yeah, this is years long after she had died. But he never went in that room. He slept on the floor next to a couch because he couldn't sleep on the couch anymore. Ed Gein, there's a strange one. do a video about the differences between the U.S. versus UK items. There's a lot of difference, Gemma, between U.S. and Canadian items as well. I mean, like, take for instance, like here in America, Kraft makes a Kraft macaroni and cheese dinner. In Canada, it's what's called BK dinner. It's the same box. They just changed the label on it. But then again, also in the United States, you have the same product from East Coast to West Coast. They just changed the names on. Like Hellman's mayonnaise. Hellman's mayonnaise on the East Coast is well known, and in the Midwest of the United States. But once you get on the West Coast of the United States, they call it Best Foods mayonnaise, and all the other products in that line, ketchup, mustard, aiolis and stuff like that. Aioli is just a fancy mayonnaise, ladies and gentlemen, but it's still mayonnaise. BTK or bind, torture, kill. Yeah, it's something like that. Like, but it's only 2 letters in Canada. Same product. They just changed the name on it. And then when they sell it in other countries, they change the name. But it's the same product made in the same factory, same standards, everything. There's no difference at all. There is a slight, like, quarter of a cup difference of milk. I think in the macaroni and cheese one, between the United States and Canada, we put more in it, so it's creamier and fattier than Canada or in the UK. But you should do that video. That'd be really interesting to see the differences. What you guys call a biscuit, in the UK is different from what a biscuit is here. Well, email me your address. I will send you some UK goodies. All right. After the stream, sweetheart, I'll shoot you an email. Well, I'm going to check on the membership stuff first to figure out why you're not getting your icon, and if there's any issues there. I'm going to look at that first, and then after that, I'll shoot you an email. BTK2, bind, torture, kill. There isn't anybody, that's a serial killer out there that has escaped me, that we haven't covered. I was looking into, my notes, Colin Hatch. He was sentenced to life in prison back in 1994, and he was sentenced to go to Yorkshire prison. And he was murdered behind the prison walls in 2011. I was looking into him yesterday. These are all my notes about it. That's in the UK. Colin Hatch. I think aioli is loaded with garlic. It can have garlic in it, lemon pie, but there's also different mayonnaises out there as well that have garlic in them. I mean, it all starts off the same way: oil, egg, and then you mix that together, and that starts the basis of either aioli or for mayonnaise. And you can add garlic to it, rosemary, basil. There's a lot of things that different people put in. I'm not just talking about homemade, but in stuff you can buy in the grocery store. And then there are people who put sriracha in it. So, and the line of different kinds of mayonnaises and everything else in aiolis is endless. But they basically both start off with oil and egg. Now, and then there's the vegan, ones where you have oil, and then you have a million different chemicals to make it, to substitute for the egg. But and I know that for a fact because I bought vegan mayonnaise for my daughter, and she's not a vegan, she's a vegetarian. But I bought vegan mayonnaise for when we did like a barbecue. I don't know how anybody could ever eat that stuff. It don't taste like mayonnaise. It tastes like chemicals with oil. But I'm sure there are good ones out there, but that's one that she wanted was I'm like, oh no, y'all make me hungry. Sorry about that, Sal. Well, have a good breakfast or lunch or dinner, whichever it is in your area, or whatever meal you may be on. Many of the nasty skin items he made for her for the home. Ed Gein. Ed Gein covered a chair with human flesh and lamp cover. He made tools from bones of people he dug up in the cemetery, like the handles for knives and for spoons. He was making a female skin suit. He covered books with the with skin. Yeah. Didn't he have a skull bowl? The top, just the top portion. But yes, Kitty Coo. Yeah, he made a lot of. I mean, one item alone is super freaking creepy, but and but he don't forget about the female genitalia that they found that he had preserved. Yeah, there were a lot of them, more than one, way more than one that he had removed. Yeah, Ed Gein, but he was again the inspiration for Buffalo Bill, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for Leatherface from that. I think he probably inspired other, well-known serial killers or different, horror genre. Old Dahmer was trying to make a seven skull lamp, but Dahmer also his entire goal, if there was really a goal, was he wanted a sex robot. He wanted to find a way to alter the brain and the willpower of an individual to the point where they could only, do what he wanted. That was his main goal, and he never was able to complete it. So then he just chopped them up and had sex with them and kept their body parts in the refrigerator and freezer and may have fed his neighbors meat sandwiches made from people, and he ate. He actually consumed one of his lovers, and he believed that he gained the strength and power and knowledge from that individual. And let's not forget, the police actually returned a young victim to him because they couldn't understand, the language barrier and what he was saying, and they believed that it was a domestic violence situation and returned that victim to Dahmer. And Dahmer then, in short order, ended up killing that individual. And he was out of room to put him in a barrel. So he put him in the shower. And then for months afterwards, he showered with that victim with their head by the drain over the top of them. And you don't even want to know the things that he would do with these victims. Trust me, you don't want that in your memory bank. It's all coming back to me. I won't be trying pickled ketchup. Has anyone tried the new pickled ketchup yet? No. He was to create a sex zombie. Yeah, zombie robot. Pickled ketchup. Why would you want pickled ketchup? Because ketchup is tomato, vinegar, are the two first things, sugar and salt to make ketchup. You need some kind of binding agent, otherwise you end up with just soup. So you'll have to add like a paste, cooked paste to it, or probably cheaper ketchup. Probably use some kind of another emulsifier to keep it, from separating on the store shelves. So I'm guessing either guar gum or something along those lines is added to ketchup that you find on your store. So how would you make a pickled ketchup? And it depended upon how long you fermented it. If it is fermented, wouldn't it be closer to a kimchi, like a liquefied kimchi, but with tomatoes instead of other vegetables? Interesting. Pickled ketchup. It doesn't sound interesting to me. I'll stick with my tapatio. Doesn't sound good to me at all. You ever heard of a killer named Tommy Sells? Hmm. I don't know. I'm thinking of one, but I don't think his last name is Sells. Tommy Sells. No, I'm going to have to answer your question honestly, and say no. I have not heard of Tommy Sells. I think I'm thinking of another one, who was a killer from Oklahoma. Who this guy, and I'm guessing it's not Tommy Sells. He killed 3 women who were sex workers, and then he killed his mother and aunt, or maybe it was his mother and her friend. So 5 women total. But for some reason, the last name Sells is ringing that guy's murderers. There's so many of them out there, to tell you the truth. He used to be a train hopper. Ooh, a hobo? The hobo killer? He cut little girls' necks. Ooh, oh my. Killer of children. Mm. Kind of like the alphabet killer, who killed all of his victims, have their first and last name start with the same letter, and he dumped their bodies in towns or cities that had started with the same letter. Like Laura Larson would be dumped near. That's an example. It's not an actual one of the victims' name, but L was dumped near Laredo. But they called him the alphabet killer. Never caught, by the way. They think 22 murders, but he was only convicted of 1 and got the death penalty. All right. Since we have Tihas 49 here, I have to tell you about this awesome book that my good friend Kitty Q told me about. You need to look into this one. It's called Serial Killer Calendar: This Day in Killer History. So let's find out what is on for June 22nd. And there's the artwork of Jeffrey Dahmer for today. June 22nd is Martin Drumellard. 8th of March, 1862, was a French serial killer condemned to the guillotine after having been arrested and charged in the deaths of maids from 1855 to 1861. Lam Korwan, born June 22nd, 1955, is one of Hong Kong's 2 known serial killers. The other was Lam Kwai. Lam worked as a taxi driver and would pick up female passengers and strangle them with electrical wire, take them to his family home, and dismember them. But this gives you every single day of the year, 365 days a year. There's some really good artwork in here. There's like the Zodiac in here. There's Ed Gein right there. But serial killer calendar. You can get it on Amazon. We just did, yeah, on Gacy. I lost track of how many times Pippadot we've actually covered Gacy. I think 4 or 5 now in the last couple of years. Dude smells of evil for the pic you showing. Oh, which one? Ed Gein's in here. Ooh, right there. We were just talking about Gein. Right here. There's Ed Gein on the cover. But I'm sure that that the likelihood is that Cells guy is in here somewhere. Anybody know when he was born? Maybe we can find his crimes listed by his birth date. Because a lot of them, you know, it's either the date of their birth or death, or the date of their conviction. There's a creepy one. Fred and Rosemary West. Elaine, or Eileen, or however people want to. June 28th, 1964. So we'll go to 28th of June. 28th of June. There he is. Tommy Lynn Sells. June 28th, 1964 through April 3rd, 2014. Was an American serial killer. He was convicted of 1 murder for which he was sentenced to death, and authorities believe he committed at least 21 murders. June 28th, 1964. But also on the 28th of June in here is Carl Panzeram. June 28th, 1891 through September 5th, 1930, was serial killer, rapist, arsonist, and burglar. Jailhouse Confessions. In his autobiography, he claimed that he committed 21 murders, most of which could not be corroborated, with over 1,000 sodomies of boys and young men. After the series of imprisonments and escapes, he was executed in 1930 for the murder of a prison employee at Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary. Again, I have no idea who wrote this book, by the way. I used to own a bookstore, and I'd have to actually look it up by the ISBN on the back to find out who actually wrote the book, because there's no forward in it. There's no name of an author on the cover, nothing on the back. There's no index. Only thing on the inside is just the name of the print-on-demand company, and that's it. Hell, for all I know, Kitty Coo wrote this book. I wouldn't doubt it. Kitty Coo knows an awful lot about these, serial killers as well. Is the broomstick killer in that book? McDuff is his last name. You can't find them by the actual name of the killer. You have to know either their birth date or the date of death or the date of conviction is how they are. It's just, it goes by every day of the year and some kind of a historical event, either birth, death, or conviction for that actual day is how, the different killers are listed in the book. Dun dun. I think it was pickle flavor ketchup. Ew. That would be even worse, Pippadot. It's kind of like when Kraft put out that purple, green, and then red, normal red ketchup. Anybody remember those? The squeezable ketchups for kids. Purple, blue. Yeah, no, purple, blue, red, and green. I think that those are the only colors of ketchup they put out. Why would you want that? Are you thinking of Kenneth McDuff? Not a problem. They make an actual daily calendar as well. Like you put on your desk. Right? Sprinkle donut. They say that the different colored ones that they put out tasted like ketchup. But doing like a blind taste test because we actually bought at Costco. They had the whole thing in a nice little plastic, like thing, condiment thing you can set on your patio table for like a barbecue. We actually bought it, and we did a blind taste test for people, blindfolded, and had them taste it, and every one of them could say that it told, when we did it, they're like, no, there's something off about the flavor. It doesn't taste like regular ketchup. So I like checking the calendar. We're gonna go about another 10 minutes here, ladies and gentlemen. Then I have to wrap this up this morning. I do have to go feed my family. And no, there won't be any pickled ketchup on the menu. There will be tapatio on in the scrambled eggs. I like hot sauce. Not that I would never do like the what is it at first we feast, with Sean Evans, the YouTube channel where they do wings, and hotter and hotter, Scoville level. I would never do that. I mean, some people would like that. I don't see that. It's interesting, concept for interviewing, celebrities. It is 9 o'clock in the morning here, and it is already 80 degrees outside. 80 at 9 a.m. I'm just watching the scroll go by for the weather forecast. It's 80 degrees, sunny, um, wind out of the west northwest at 3 miles an hour. Yay! Well, I found a new chill chat to be part of. Thanks for sharing this channel with me. Well, we're glad you're here, Tejas. Want to enjoy my food night. Choke on it because it's so hot, right? Not. I think it's an interesting concept. Though I'll have to give it to Sean Evans. For at first we feast. For coming up with the idea of like hot wings, and like it kind of takes the person you're interviewing out of their element, and it gives them a challenge to go along with it. I mean, that's an interesting concept. But I don't. You get when it comes to hot sauces, you get to a certain point where it's just it nails you with that heat. You're not enjoying any of the flavors after that because it's just taking over your entire palate. I have to go. Thanks for everything. Thanks, Will. I'll be back next week. You take care, Sal. In the meantime, you stay safe out there. Coolio the rapper went extreme on the last dab with that show, Hot Ones. Yeah, last we feast, Hot Ones, same show, same creator, Sean Evans. Coolio. Nah, there's a name that I haven't remembered in a long time. I didn't even know he was on the show. But what? Gangster's Paradise? Coolio? Last Dab? The Last Dab is actually his hot sauce. Sean Evans's company. So hot sauce. That Last Dab. But he went nuts on it, huh? I don't think I have any Coolio. No. I got Public Enemy, Ice Cube, Ghetto Boys, NWA. I don't have any Coolio. Nope. Those are just a small selection of my cassettes. This is a record player because I'm old, and this is how I listen to my music. This is a 16 dual 8 and 8 on each side cassette carousel, so you can put 16 cassettes in it. Oh yeah, the Ghetto Boys, Texas Boys on your shelf. I don't have much in the rest of these. You can't see it because I'm in the way. Record albums over here and over there. Before the stream, I was listening to Jethro Tull, "Living in the Past." I do every morning before I do the stream because it relaxes me. Cassette tapes, kids nowadays have no clue. Good morning, Carly. I actually have 8 tracks as well. I don't have an 8-track player though. I do have 8 tracks. Vinyl is the way, brother, all the way. Yeah, thank you, by the way. But yeah, I've got CDs and MP3s, of music. Just yuck, says Pippadot about the pickle flavored ketchup. I don't know why you would even want that. Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson. I've got music of all different genres, though. Everything from rap, hip hop, classical, country, soundtracks. Blues, Buster Benton. You name it. I've got a little bit of everything. I have a very eclectic music collection because I find joy and inspiration in all music. I've got a section back here of nothing but late 70s and early 80s punk. Everything from like the Dead Kennedys to Agent Orange to you name it. I probably have some of it. Steel Pulse. Check them out if you've never heard of them. Steel Pulse. I definitely have heard of Steel Pulse. You love all music, Mary? So that's one of the things about me that people find hard to believe. It's growing up, I always lived by the standard of George Carlin. George Carlin said something that was very, poignant. I didn't hear it until I was a teenager, but I always believed the same way, that he did anyways. But George Carlin said, "There's no room in this world for racism. because there's more than enough reasons to hate each individual on an individual basis. Why be a racist? And that's absolutely true. And I kind of think the same way about music and other YouTube creators and channels out there. Everybody has a different opinion and a different take on the same thing. If you wrote down the first, 10 things that happened in a case, each person, and you tell them you have to cover this, they would cover it in a different way. And that may influence on how you perceive the actual information. You saw Jethro in concert many times. Cool. I wish I could do it, Pippadot. I wish I could do the music trivia, but a lot of it is copyright protected, and I can't put the lyrics or anything or read the display them or play music for it anymore because of YouTube. I mean, just if a car drove by right now and one of these teens were playing, something, at maximum volume, so the windows of their car is rattling and all the homes are rattling, and that's heard in the background of them driving by my house, just like that, it flags my video. And it anything, it can be 1 second or 3 seconds. But if it's enough for them to actually, catalog it and like nail it and say, oh, if this is that song or this song. It was. Carlin opened my eyes to a lot. He is missed for sure. I thought it was in that section. It's not. It's all movie soundtracks like Good Morning Vietnam, Pretty in Pink, 80s movies, 16 Candles. I got, Bill Hicks, another one who spoke the truth. Bill Hicks is a great comedian. Will, can we please do music trivia? I would love to, Pippadot, but as I was trying to explain, is if I ask a question about a musical artist and a song, I can't use the actual lyrics, the actual words from the song, because YouTube and their AI software, which is completely stupid, but if it picks up on and matches certain words that are seen on screen, it copyrights, and then you get so many of those. Like the last time I did music trivia, I had 61 copyright matches on just an hour and a half trivia. And you have to go through and dispute each and every one, or you can click on don't wish to dispute, and then they age gate your entire video, and then no one gets to see it. It's more of a heartache, and a headache, than it's worth. I want to do it. I would love to do music trivia. I would love to offer that every single week. I don't know how some people do it and get away with it today, because there are channels that definitely do it and play snippets of music. There is a thing in the copyright laws that says if you're using copyright material and you're changing it in a substantial artistic way, or you're using it for critique, that you can use it. But I've never been able to get away with that. YouTube has either been heavy-handed, slammed the damn mallet down on me and knocked me down where nobody finds my content at all, or they've left me alone. And for a lot of years, I totally played kind of a game with YouTube where I didn't stream through YouTube. I streamed through Patreon, or I streamed through, another, server, and then to YouTube. And where if YouTube didn't want to show it, at least I could show it through the links on these others. Well, that's not the case anymore. Now I can stream through Patreon, but YouTube, if I let it go to YouTube, YouTube wants me to say I am the original creator of this content. Nothing copyright in there, and if it is, they then will block it on their end and then block and restrict my channel. Right now, I have 3 warnings on my channel for just using the name and likeness of criminals in my dumb criminal series. Stupid criminals that I do Tuesdays and Thursdays. They don't want me to use the names and likenesses of people because I didn't say the word allegedly committed these crimes. But they're in the media. Why can't I use their name and likeness? If their mugshot is on the evening news, why is it I'm not allowed to? Because I'm not a news channel. And I think that's how some of the other people who are using the content get away with it. But I would love to do the music trivia. I really would. My guilt, please, is Robin Williams in The Birdcage. Don't judge me. That was a great movie. That was a great movie. I don't care what people say about it. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed The Birdcage. Robin Williams has had so many great movies. If you want to watch a really interesting, speaking of Robin Williams, if you want to watch a really interesting interview, he's an actor. His name is Kurtwood, 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 all one word is his name. I can't remember what his first name is, but he was the father on That 70s Show. He was in RoboCop. And to just name a couple of different things that he's done, and now he's on That 70s Show, the second one on Netflix. He knew Robin Williams and was one of Robin Williams' best friends. He met Robin when Robin was in college in California before Robin Williams then eventually went to Juilliard. But he had known Robin since he was in his late teens, early 20s. And I don't know if it's on YouTube, but I found it on another venue that's no longer around. That's best I can put it. But there were links to it that you can find on the Wayback Machine, which is like screenshots and stuff like that of old internet archives. But he talks about their lives to growing up and how he went into acting and Robin went into comedy and who Robin Williams really was. The guy who you think as Robin Williams is exactly that. He was a soft-spoken, gentle individual who cared immensely about everyone. And towards the end, before Robin unfortunately took his life, they knew that 2 years going into that, towards the end, the last 2 years of Robin's life, they knew what was going on with him medically was something that Robin was not going to be able to deal with, because Robin was always afraid of something like ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, or something that would rob his ability to be himself. And they knew that. And Robin was, before he ever got the diagnosis towards the end, he already knew that there was something wrong with him, and he wasn't able to be as quick and as punctual, and think of everything as he had been for decades before. Mork and Mindy was great. Mork from Ork. Nanu Nanu. Steve Martin is the same way, very low key and quiet. Here's a comedian you probably don't know, but if you really like a comedian who will do music and comedy, like a singing comedian, look up Stephen Lynch. Me and my wife went and saw Stephen Lynch twice in Portland, Oregon. Only reason to ever go to Portland. Otherwise, you get the hell, just drive through it or get the hell out as soon as you can. Portland is weird, and Portland can keep itself as long as it stays where it is. But we went and saw Stephen Lynch twice. We laughed so hard. Both of us thought we were going to, basically piss ourselves. We were laughing so hard. We left there and we could barely speak because we were laughing so hard. It's kind of a little bit darker comedy. He definitely pokes fun at religion and stories from the Bible and people throughout history. But Stephen Lynch, look him up. You can find his videos on YouTube, a lot of them. All right, well, I went past my 10 minutes. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to wrap this up because I do have to go feed my family because apparently they don't know where the kitchen is. No, they know where the kitchen is. They just won't cook for themselves unless I do it for them. So, anyways, thank you everyone again for being here this morning. Music, singing, playing words all get struck down. Oh, it sucks. Well, we love the music. Yeah. Robin and Bob Saget were hilarious. Bob Saget definitely, especially before he transitioned into doing movies and the television series. What he was on Full House, Bob Saget, but before then, he stand-up comic. Anyways, but thank you everyone again. I hope you have a terrific weekend. If I don't see you again soon, don't forget tomorrow night, 4 p.m. on Pacific Coast time, 5 Mountain, 7 o'clock on the East Coast of the U.S. We do trivia, so whichever time zone you're in, live trivia, 20 multiple choice questions, fun, hang out, chat just like this there as well. But thank you again, everyone, and you all have a terrific day. And if I don't see you again tomorrow, bye.